All right, so today we have a clip here of two Republican conservative goons just saying some really outlandishly stupid, pretty borderline racist shit about the shooting of Ralph Yarl, a 16-year-old who knocked on the wrong door and was shot by an 85-year-old white male. Here's the clip. It's just audio, and the audio sounds a little echoey and a little weird. I couldn't find any clips where it doesn't sound weird. Here it is.
What is the primary crime story that the New York Times, Clay told me this because he gets the hard copy of the New York Times, the old school paper, on the front page of the New York Times today. Which one has become...
And this is from a couple days ago.
...a cause for celebrities, including Jennifer Aniston and others? Well, let's talk about this for a second. A young African-American male, Ralph Yarl, was critically injured. He's 16 years old. This was in Kansas City, Missouri. This occurred just over the weekend as well.
And just before we go any further, these guys are going to use a lot of really specific language. This is something that I talk about that conservatives do. They're going to use really specific language to kind of do this like dog whistly go around them, not just saying that they're straight up fucking racist. This is what a lot of conservatives do. They try to just tiptoe around it, kind of seem like they're positioning themselves in this kind of way where they're just like, well, we just want, there to be a equal representation of both sides or some stupid shit like that.
An 84-year-old man shot Yarl twice. Once it hit him in the head, once hit him in the arm. And there's an enormous outcry over this, and the 84-year-old has been arrested. He's been charged with a Class A felony assault, which could, for anybody, be life in prison. He's obviously 84, so it's even a short sentence would likely mean that he would die in prison.
I mean, but realistically, that's what happens when you shoot somebody that you don't have the right to shoot. And I know that there are things in this country like stand your ground laws that are completely crazy. But when you look at the details surrounding the shooting of Ralph Yarl, which we're going to go over in a little bit, some of the details at least, it's not surprising that he's being charged with. I don't know the exact charge. I can't remember, but it's no wonder that it's a felony like it is, and it could carry a sentence of however long it might carry.
And the facts right now are that this individual, Andrew Lester, 84 years old, who was already in police custody, responded to a knock at the door. Essentially, Ralph, the young man here, knocked on the wrong door.
Also, this is something that I think is especially strange to me. Especially when I hear, and I have heard many conservatives talk about this lately on social media too. This Ralph was 16 years old, and they all refer to him as a young man. A young man. But he's still a kid. He's a teenager. He's 16 years old. When you're 16, you can't drive by yourself. You can't fucking smoke. You can't drink. So I'm a little confused at the rhetoric of a young man when he's clearly not a grown adult yet, okay? So just saying a young man makes it seem like he was at least 18 when he wasn't. So, and again, I heard a lot of people, and I saw people arguing about this on Twitter actually, and I thought some people were making a really good point. I guess some people would refer to someone like him as a young man, but these conservatives are specifically calling him a young man as if like he was an adult and like this is somehow on him. It's ridiculous.
I pick up his twin brothers, and this guy, this is the story we have so far, this guy.
And then he says, this is the story we have so far, and it's like, dude, what more do you need to know? What more are you waiting on to come out? Again, they're trying to position themselves as just like, we're not saying anything. We're trying to be like objective or whatever. They're not, especially as we get later into the clip, you'll really be able to tell that that's not what they're doing. But, They say this is the story we have so far. What does that mean? Do you think that something else happened that still would? I don't know what could have happened. What these people think could have happened that would have warranted him being shot. There's nothing I can think of, and there is nothing.
Lester, either panicked, freaked out, or he's, they're all, of course, already saying he's a horrible racist. He's 84 years old and never done this before, but they're saying, well, he's such a
Well, he's never done this before, so he can't be a racist. He's never shot a black kid before. He's never shot another black person before, so it can't be racist, right? It was only one time. The first time you get a pass. You can shoot just one black person. You get a pass. You're not a racist for that, even if you did it on purpose. You get a pass for the first one. This is fucking crazy, guys. This is fucking insane. But realistically, and I'm not gonna play this clip because it's quite long, and I recommend that you guys go and watch it for yourself. The grandson of the man, Lester, who shot Ralph, he actually went on CNN and said that his grandfather was caught up in a cycle of fear and paranoia from watching Fox News. He would sit and watch Fox News all day, every day, blaring in his living room. And I think that stuff really kind of reinforces this negative view of minority groups. And he's exactly right. You guys can go on to Media Matters right now and search and watch this clip. Again, it's 8 minutes, and I didn't want to just play part of the clip because I watched the whole thing, and I think it's actually a pretty interesting segment that they ran. But go and research this, or go and look this up if you want to see the clip. So, again, these guys sitting over here saying, well, he's never done it before, so it's whatever, is ridiculous.
Shot this is the narrative that you're all being told.
That I mean, who's gonna know this guy better? These two guys, two random conservative podcast hosts who, just so you guys know who these people are, because I wasn't even familiar with them. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. These are the two guys that were literally hired to take their show to the next level after Rush Limbaugh died and his show was gone. These two guys. There's a ton of articles on these guys. Apparently they have a really big show. I've never even heard about it. But Jesse Kelly's show to join Premier Networks to fill Buck Sexton's slot, and they're talking about how Sexton and Clay Travis's move into Rush Limbaugh's 12 to 3 p.m. time slot starting June 21st. This was all over the news when it happened, right? At least some of the more conservative outlets, that they were taking Rush Limbaugh's spot because apparently these guys have a show that's big enough to take a big name like Rush Limbaugh's spot in the conservative media space. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background about who these guys are, just in case some of you didn't know, because I didn't know.
Look, obviously, this young man should not have been based on...
But my point that I was trying to say that I didn't even finish is, are these random people that have never met this guy going to know him better than his own grandson? That's my point I was trying to make. These guys are trying to say, well, you're being fed this media lie that he's a racist. This is the narrative you're receiving, and it's like, well, his grandson kind of said that he sits there and watches Fox News all day, and it reinforces negative stereotypes of minorities. So, we can listen to these two random guys, or we can listen to someone who's related to the person in question. I don't know. You make your decision.
The facts that we have now should not have been shot because there was no basis for this, and it's...
At least they have the common decency to say that he didn't deserve to be shot. Thank God for that. I didn't think I was even going to get that.
It's a terrible incident. This is front page
it's fucking
news.
Terrible.
What's interesting to me, Clay, and this is where I want to go to you. By the way, the young man is fine, expected to make a full recovery.
By the way, the media should not be talking about this because he's going to be okay, despite being shot in the head and also in the arm. He didn't even die, okay? So the media can cool it with all the stories they're running, okay, guys? Jesus, he's going to be fine, so it's not even a big deal. I don't think these people know how entitled, how stupid, and just how fucking bigoted they sound. Oh my God. It's just, it's hard for me to listen to this stuff sometimes, guys. It really is.
Is not in any danger of, certainly not of dying, but expect to make an entire...
He's not in any danger of dying, so just everyone can cool it. You guys can stop talking about it because he's not even going to die. So it's not a big deal. Also, it was his first time. So he's good to go. Fucking crazy.
Full recovery. He was very lucky in that regard based on where the wounds were.
What the fuck? What the fuck are they saying? Totally off the rails now. What the fuck are you on? I mean, it was off the rails from the very beginning, but dude, what the fuck? He's very lucky? Yeah, guys. Ralph Yarl, I have such a hard time with that last name, is such a lucky boy that he didn't die from getting shot by an 84-year-old man when he went to pick up his twin brothers. What a lucky guy. These people are horrible. These are just horrible human beings. I'm sorry, but they are.
They've already raised $3 million for him via GoFundMe.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Guys, there's so much left of this clip. They've already raised $3 million for him. Terrible, awful people. What does this country come to? They're raising money for a 16-year-old black kid that got shot in what is more than likely racially charged shooting, attempted fucking homicide. Terrible. Awful. Ugh.
And, I'm sure he's going to, the family will sue, and, there's a lot of things that are going to happen here. Okay.
What?
What you're not seeing on the front page of the New York Times
this is where it really starts to, it really gets me going, guys. This is the part where I'm like, okay, if we're really going to go there, let's go there. Here we go.
Kaylin Gillis, a 20-year-old white girl, was killed over the weekend. This was in Salem, New York, which is near Saratoga Springs, kind of in northern New York. She drove into the wrong driveway.
This is true.
Very similar. Went into the wrong driveway, and this guy, this individual, I'm trying to see who's in custody right now, Kevin Monahan, freaked out, shot this woman. She's a white girl with blonde hair. Shot this woman, killed her. She is dead. There is no coming back for her. She is shot and killed. He has now been arrested and is going to be charged with a whole range of felonies. Why isn't this on the front page of the New York Times?
And so apparently these guys' whole gripe with all of this stuff is just the small fact that the shooting, which I'm sure that many of you have heard of the shooting where this woman drove into the wrong driveway, and she was with actually a group of people, and she got literally shot at by this guy that she went into the wrong driveway to. She didn't even get out of the car. No one that was in the vehicle got out of the car, and she got shot. It's horrible. It's absolutely terrible. But just number one, this is just one article, but there are multiple articles on the New York Times, hundreds of miles apart, separate shootings follow wrong turns. This is an article about both of the shootings, one about Kaylin, one about Ralph. This is an article about both, but there are multiple articles on the New York Times about this shooting. So just because it wasn't on the very front page of the New York Times when they recorded this episode, I think is just a ridiculous criticism. It's not even a criticism, in my opinion, number one. But this fucking Kaylin Gillis' shooting has received maybe not an equal amount, but I could make a case for an equal amount of media coverage. New York Times, NBC, NPR, another NPR article, ABC, another New York Times article, AP, ABC7 New York, fucking NBC, NBC New York, NY1, The Guardian, CBS. There are so many everyone picked this up. All of the mainstream media reported on this. So I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck Clay and Travis are talking about. But you want to know? There is one story that I have seen a couple people talk about, and maybe you guys have heard about this. Maybe you haven't. But there is a shooting that the media really isn't talking about, and that story is a Walgreens employee who followed two women, one of them 7 months pregnant, out to their vehicle after he thought that they were shoplifting. And one of the women pulled out mace, sprayed him with mace, and he pulled out a gun, shot the pregnant woman. She had to have an emergency C-section, and her baby are in critical condition in the hospital. And, some of you, again, might have heard about this. This worker is claiming self-defense. I don't hear these two guys talking about this. I don't really hear any people talking about this. It was reported on USA Today. The CBS News picked it up. There were people that reported on this. This happened in Nashville, Tennessee, mind you. But, where is all the media attention for this shooting, Like, it's just, it doesn't even make sense to say something like that. It's a ridiculous shooting. They're trying to fucking do this quiet, under the radar, dog whistly, like race baiting type shit, and it's absolutely ridiculously dumb. You don't have to, fucking have some type of special education to see just how fucking stupid these two guys are being right now with what they're saying. But let's continue.
She's dead. She was killed.
Yeah.
Similar incident.
Yeah.
The other individual is fine.
Well, similar, maybe. Again, even the people that are that held the press conference after the shooting of Ralph Yarl, excuse me, and they said that he had been released and they were bringing charges and all this stuff. They said that there is a racial component in the case, and I don't think we can trust everything that law enforcement tells us, especially in these press conferences that they do. I'm not saying I don't believe that, but one of similar in the fact that they both got shot, but circumstances surrounding the shooting, other than both at the wrong place, circumstances are very much different. But to them, these are the types of people that say that they don't see race, but then they bring it up any chance they get to make arguments like this.
Right. And is a millionaire now, or soon to be. But one of them is a front page news story. The other one doesn't even get talked about.
One of them is a millionaire soon to be. He's also, again, I'm not trying to say that Kalen Gillis getting shot is absolutely terrible. I read about that story the other day when I woke up, right after I woke up, and I was just fucking heartbroken. It's a fucking sad story, okay? Do they not think that this 16-year-old boy is going to have trauma probably for the rest of his life? So what the fuck are they complaining about here? Again, the media is covering both of them. Just because it's not the first story when you go in the New York Times, it makes what happened to Ralph just not as important, or not as something that we should be talking. I don't get this at all.
And I had strong feelings about this. This is why I read the physical print newspaper, because the front page of the newspaper is the distilled essence of the entire newsroom editorial staff on what are the most important issues of the day. And first of all, I'm glad this kid's going to be okay. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, all of
the 20-year-old who is dead. As a parent, to think about, a girl going into the wrong driveway and somebody reacting and committing a murder, what appears to be a murder. We'll see for more details to come out, but it seems unlikely that she posed a threat or this was a legitimate form of self-defense. We'll see, right?
I can't even believe that these people are talking about self-defense as an argument for either person in either story that shot at somebody that didn't deserve to be shot. I just, what the fuck?
And I think about that all the time as I've got a kid who soon will be of driving age. It's a very easy error to make, right? To go to the wrong house, to get lost in a neighborhood, to pull in and try to turn around. Every single one of us listening to this has had that happen at some point in time.
That might be the one thing that they say that I 100% agree with. I've done that lots of times. I'm sure most of you that are able to drive, I don't know if everyone in my audience can drive, has probably done something similar. At least here in America. I don't know about other countries, honestly, but I've done that.
And, Buck, I've said this story on the show before. I've been in a car that's been shot, right? As a teenager, out rolling.
That is probably your craziest Clay Travis story, by the way. But yes.
For anybody out there who missed it, when I was in high school, we went and we rolled. I know some people call TPing, the head of the cheerleading squad. All the cheerleaders were sleeping over. I was with 5 or 6 guy buddies. Guy in Antioch, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, shot our car twice as we were driving away. So this idea of people behaving irrationally and crazily is not foreign to me, right? I've experienced it in my own life.
That story that he told, I would have doubts about it, but the fact that he said that that guy shot at them right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, kind of makes me not have that many doubts, as sad as that sounds.
But This goes to what the media is doing in this country. The media in this country is trying to convince you, and all of you out there listening know this, that identity trumps everything, and that you have nothing in common with a black guy or an Asian woman or a Hispanic woman if you are white.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we have people like Scott Adams that get on their podcast and get on their social media, whatever it is, and say that if you see black people and you're white, turn the other way because of a ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous poll, a question that gets asked like, I don't even remember the question. It was something about, do you think white people should exist or something like that. It was just a ridiculous question from a polling institute that has been historically and statistically shown to kind of lean conservative, but, you know, the media, it's the liberal media, because these guys are, again, they're in Rush Limbaugh's time slot here on this show. It's the liberal media that is telling you that you don't have anything in common with a black person if you're a white person. That's a new one.
That you are in this identity politics battle, and in order for one person to triumph, somebody else has to lose.
Why do I never hear these people talk about like the institutional racism that has existed in this country since it's existed, pretty much. I don't hear them talking about the institutional racism that minorities experience on a daily basis still today, even in 2023, April 21st. Why are they not? Why do the conservatives never want to talk about that? It's just cherry-picking statistics, you know, sitting there saying that, you know, it's the media is trying to divide us, while simultaneously sitting here and saying that, the white people are the ones that are somehow being attacked. I just don't get it. I don't get it. This money that these Republican grifters get must really, 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 really be more important to these people than actually being someone that has morals.
And they have created this racial war by picking outlier stories and treating them as if they are representative samples of what goes on a day-to-day basis in America today.
What does that mean? What the fuck are you talking about? What goes on in a day-to-day basis in America? And they're about to say some stuff about crime statistics that I guess would explain why they're saying what they're saying. But again, if you don't think that America and the people in it have historically been and continue to be racist toward minority ethnic groups, you're just not living in reality. I don't know what else to tell you. You're living in a fucking delusion if you think that systemic and institutional racism is not a real thing,
while simultaneously ignoring what truly is often the number one story. And this is why I say, and it makes people uncomfortable sometimes to have this conversation. And unfortunately, I think as long as that level of discomfort exists, we can't make progress in anything. So let me just be straightforward and clear here.
Okay.
Black Lives Matter is not actually true.
Black Lives Matter is not actually true. Let's listen to why they think Black Lives Matter is not actually true.
Okay. Black lives only matter when white people, by and large, are involved in taking them. Because if black lives truly mattered, then the massive rate of black-on-black crime, murder in particular, that has skyrocketed since the George Floyd protests began, would be front-page news every single day. A black guy killing another black guy gets no attention. Barely even blip of radar. And
I mean, if we're number one, if we're gonna go by the logic of a black person killing a black person or a white person killing a white person or whatever it is, if we're gonna go by race on race stats, if we're just gonna cover every single murder that happens, guess what? The news would only report on murders all the time, and that would be the only thing you hear about on the news, because there are so many murders that happen in this country. There are so many people that get killed in this country on a daily basis. But they're sitting here saying that, you know, the black on black crime is through the roof. But statistics have routinely, historically, and continue to show that uh, according to our own government, which these people can listen to whatever they want, the 10-year average between white-on-white homicides and black-on-black homicides, according to our own FBI, is they're in the same exact range. The white-on-white crime is 82%, black-on-black crime. I mean, white homicide victims killed by white offenders, black homicide victims killed by black offenders. For the whites, it's 82%. For the blacks, it's 90%. But according to our FBI, that is, and it's not even that big of a difference. That is in the same bracket. It's in the same exact thing. But again, something that these conservatives are not talking about is all of the different things, all of the different types and ways of systemic and institutional racism that affect groups like black people in this country. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about just all of the different things. When it comes to, again, the very real institutional racism that exists in this country for things like jobs, housing, income, all of this different stuff. They're not talking about that. They just want to look at crime statistics, but then again, they're not even telling you the whole statistic, because white-on-white crime in this context that they're talking about is literally almost the exact fucking same, and the FBI puts them in the same exact bracket. They're right there with each other. So talk about that too. Why aren't they going to talk about that? They're not going to talk about that. And then the other end of that is, white people don't experience institutional systemic racism on a daily basis. But
an 85-year-old white guy who doesn't even kill a black kid, front page newspaper story in the New York Times. I'm sure they'll be marching. I'm sure it'll be the number one story for multiple days.
These people again, this is something that I've said before. White people do not seriously, at least these white people, they do not understand and cannot fundamentally understand what a movement is just in general. Okay? They cannot understand something like what the Black Lives Matter movement is and what it's trying to do and how they try to raise awareness. They literally cannot understand what a movement is. They're sitting there saying, oh, there will be marches and there will be this and that, and they're going to do all this stuff because it's on the front page of the news and this and that. It's hard for me sometimes to comment on what these people say because I feel like they just don't have fucking brains half the time.
Right.
And if they do,
because
they don't use them.
When we talk about narrative, you're seeing narrative creation in real time with it.
Correct.
Yeah, you're seeing narrative creation in real time right here on this fucking crazy-ass show.
This is about the narrative over truth.
One 84-year-old white guy who...
And they're saying this like they're acting like there has never, ever, ever been a white person shoot a black person, ever. Like, this has never, ever happened. Ever. This is not something that has ever happened before. That's what they're acting like. This has never happened. One white guy shoots a black kid. Psh, big deal. It's not like it's ever happened before.
This guy, maybe he may have a little bit of dementia.
They're literally defending this old white man for shooting a black child. They're defending him. One of these guys, I think, is a lawyer, I'm pretty sure.
He may have really deteriorated eyesight, and it's just
like, I'm being serious.
Constantly in panic. I mean, we just don't really know very much.
We don't really know. We don't really know why the white guy shot the black kid. So, until we have that information, we can't really make any judgments. Let's be honest. It's ridiculous, guys.
About this guy.
I don't know how many times I've said ridiculous, but
racist, which is certainly possible, but I mean, what he did doesn't seem to be in any way justified, and he's probably going to spend the rest of his life.
They can't even. It's like they're thinking out loud, and as they're doing it, they're like, okay, well, what I just said before doesn't really make sense, but then they continue to do it. Oh my Jesus! I can't believe that these people took Rush Limbaugh's spot.
Life in a prison cell now, but what's the national importance of the story? Is
I can. They fit perfectly,
it's not a news story, but a front page news story.
Whereas what?
What did I say? 15 or
20-year-old white blonde girl gets killed in the.
Well, there are a few. I was
going
going to talk about Alabama.
Shot in Alabama.
Look,
yeah.
The reason they're not making.
Why aren't you talking about the Walgreens story? Why aren't they talking about what happened to these women at Walgreens? Why are they not talking about that?
The reason they're assuming that the shooter in Alabama is black. The media is making that assumption right now based on the fact that at the party were overwhelmingly young black.
Well, and also because if it had been a white shooter that showed up at a black party and shot 20 people, then it would be the #1 story for the next several months as an example of racism.
But
and again, I don't know how much of an intolerant, just completely, I don't even want to say ill-informed, because I know that these people know better. They're grown-ass men. There's no way that they don't know better. They're doing their Republican grift thing that I was thinking this earlier, but you can't be a Republican grifter and also tell the truth. You just can't. You cannot do the Republican grift and tell what really happened and say what really happened, especially when it comes to these types of stories, because then you wouldn't be doing the Republican grift anymore. You have to be a fucking liar if you want to be a Republican and you want to make money grifting off of all of this crazy fucking wacko shit that they say. But that's going to be it for the video. If you guys like the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, press that little bell, turn on all notifications so you guys never miss an upload. And for all of you that are still here, I will be doing live shows soon here on this channel. You'll get a notification probably when I go live that says, like, I'm live. I don't know how my first couple shows are going to go, so you're going to have to bear with me. I'm working with a limited amount of hardware. I don't know if that was the right term, but that's going to be it for the video. Peace.